Hello there, you beautiful soul, and welcome back to another Culture Talk segment with Rebecca Munoz, your host and founder of Cultured Society. I am here with yet another special guest today. And this special guest I have known now for 6 years. I had the opportunity to live life with Jonathan Rojas when I first moved to Phoenix, Arizona. I no longer reside there, but as I maneuvered through my journey in Phoenix, Jonathan was such a big part of my development and my evolution during that 6 years. And it seems as though it was just yesterday that we had the opportunity to live life together, to eat at amazing restaurants and just have amazing connection. So I'm so grateful because these conversations that I started back in February started off with the concept of just authentically connecting with people that I have met throughout my journey within the last 25 years of my life. And boy, oh boy, has it been a journey of just connecting with authentic souls that are living in their purpose and developing their craft every single day. I truly believe that we all come from one body in Christ. However, we are all uniquely designed. We all have a specific DNA code that we have been brought to this earth to fulfill. And we all have such a divine purpose, yet we can even be doing the exact same type of work, yet we have such a large audience and we all have a specific message. So we all authentically connect so differently with people. And so it's so important to inspire these connections, to inspire and to connect authentically, having conversations about not just belief systems, but just talking about life philosophies, experiences, even culture, and to be able to just give space to people to be able to share their stories without criticism, without judgment, just listening, accepting, and even allowing these philosophies to maybe be adopted by yourself or by others. So with this, I introduce the amazing Jonathan Rojas. So Jonathan is a creative at heart and a U.S. Air Force veteran. His passions encompass co-owning and leading a creative production agency called Arbor Drive with his beautiful sister and business partner, Jasmin. Arbor Drive focuses on helping brands connect with their audience with compelling and immersive storytelling, photography, marketing, strategy, web, and graphic design. Jonathan loves empowering his team to harness their strengths and encourages them to pursue their purpose wholeheartedly. After years of cultivating his craft, the mission today is clear: lead a team of forward thinkers and create a platform for people to tell their stories in a captivating yet meaningful way. When he's not storyboarding or planning the next video shoot, he's reading a book at a local coffee shop, hiking the Colorado Rockies, or cycling down the PCH to San Diego. Let's go. I am totally down for that. Oh my gosh, Jonathan. Thank you so much for joining me today on this amazing conversation about culture and philosophy.
Rebecca, thank you for the intro. Like, wow, that's awesome. And your intro, amazing. That's awesome. I'm with it.
So if you have not had the opportunity to tune into these conversations, oh my word, there is a playlist of amazing people that you can journey through their lives through just by tuning in, putting your listening ears on, and just being open to what is being told. And this is a time where we really need to start sharing more stories, because although there's a lot of havoc going on in our society today, there's also a lot of triumph and just a lot of success that, people are living out every single day. So with this, I introduce the conversation of life philosophies and culture. So all the questions that I'm asking my panel of guests are all the same. However, because we are all so uniquely designed, we're all having specific experiences designed for our own life purpose. I like to say that we're all living in different dimensions of time. To give you an example, Jonathan is in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I'm an hour ahead of him. So technically, I'm in the future, one. And we're really in a different dimension of time because we see things so differently. So my perception or my perspective of life and the world is going to be so different than the way that you see it. Things are unfolding so differently and they're so fun to be a part of. So the first question that I have for you, Jonathan, is what is your life's philosophy?
Yeah, that's really deep. That's a really good question. You know, yeah, as we experience, many things in life, right? And the philosophy has, you know, evolved throughout the years, right? I've always been the go, go, go type person, right? There's a saying that I created that I just thought of when I started riding a bike years ago, and then it really evolved into my work ethic, right? And so it's the grind stops when time stops, right? And so, you know, it was I would say that as a joke. I would say that in conversation, when I'm around, like-minded individuals where they're all about the grind, where they're all about just the hard work, to get to where they want to be, so that has been my, philosophy. The grind stops when time stops. But then when I actually think about that, right? um Work is so important, right? Work, we were brought on this to this earth to work, to do God's purpose. um but we also have to remember that, we also have to remember, like, what are we working for? Like, what are we doing it? Like, the why, like, why is it? you know we're not just waking up and grinding every day, and so there is a reason, there's a purpose for it. There's a more of a more of a giving rather than working for yourself type of thing, and so I had that mentality for years, and so, like, long story short, like, through the past, 2 or 3 years, there's been a lot of growth, right? And so the philosophy has evolved into, like, remembering your purpose, you
Mm,
know, because, like, if you don't have a purpose, then you're just wandering, right? And so when someone has a purpose, a calling, a somewhere that they envision themselves, that is good, that is life-giving, that reflect God's love, you know um that is more meaningful than the grind, than the grind that society
mm,
is, like, really, like, talking about, and so, yes, there is that hard work that goes into it, but when the purpose is, Christ-centric, when it is, when it is a dependence on the Lord, not like what I can do, but, like, God, like, what can I do through you?
mhm,
That's what is the most important thing, is, like, not, not like your purpose, but, like, as this growth and as this, you know um a purpose in life, but, like, God, like, what is your purpose in me?
mhm.
And so, so that has evolved in it's to that what it is right now.
That's great. That's great. And it's so true because like we often we often want to just do what I want to do, right? I just want to be free. I just want to do what I want to do, what feels right. But when you're focused and you're connected to something so much higher than your fleshly
Yeah,
or egoic desires,
right.
it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. And you talked a lot about the evolution of that, and you talked about within the last couple of years, but when did that really shift for you? Like, do you have a specific scenario or experience that happened to you that made like turned on the light for you and it's like I need to do something different?
No, so I've always been passionate about, creating creativity, and also the intricacies of how to get it done, and the process, right? And so, even when I was a kid, I was drawing, I was, you know, just finding creative ways, finding creative outlets, right, to really live out that purpose, right? And so, we're all tested and challenged in many different ways, whether it's in a job that you don't want to be in, whether it's a season in life, that really forces you in one direction, but you don't feel really at peace about it. And you're like, man, I feel like I gotta be doing something else, but I'm here right now and I don't feel at peace, and you're just like, there's something that's driving you to not be where you're at, but you have a desire, to do something else. You
Mhm.
could be honestly like in a relationship, right? My previous relationship, I felt that it was like the right thing. It was good. It was God centered, but there was still something that was inside me that wasn't at peace, right? Because, through mentorship, through my men's, like prayer group, and just being able to be vulnerable in how I felt, like I just really felt that like God was calling me to do something else, to maybe not be in a relationship, right? And so being, when you are acting, when you're not acting authentic, right? When you're not acting or being in the place at peace, um, and you're praying, right? Like you're praying, you're asking God for direction, you're asking God for that clarity. And so when I was going through those challenges of questioning my purpose, in that relationship, I was like, man, is this for me? Like I'm not being, you know, like encouraged, or that wasn't complementing my purpose, right?
Mhm.
And so there had to be some tough times and some challenging conversations, right, to really be upfront about this. I'm just like, hey, like I feel like God's calling me to do this, and right now I'm opening up the conversation because right now I don't feel at peace about where we are right now, you know and so through prayer, through mentorship, through community, and family, and just having those really deep conversations so yeah, within the past 2-3 years, you know really, really challenged my purpose, really challenged God's calling in my life. And you know what? They're the hardest things that you have to do are honestly the most necessary to do in order for you to continue to live out God's will in your life, you know? And so I'm not the person that I was, like 2-3 years ago, but through those trials, through those challenges, right, I am 100% confident that I am where I am right now, you know, by the grace of God and by his strength that he gave me to be able to take me out of where I was, of where I wasn't supposed to be, right? And to be where I am, to be where God wants me to be right now, and growing this company, to not be in relationship, but be in relationships and giving of, myself, and fostering those types of relationships, and getting the the people on our team to where they, want to be, so
Mm.
it's not, yeah. So yeah,
How did
recent,
you
yeah.
how did you feel when you weren't at peace, when you felt like you needed to make those changes? Did your body talk to you in a certain way?
Man, my anxiety was off the charts. Like, yeah, like it was just like an alarm, going off. It's, an alarm that was unbearable, seriously. And, you know, God does not give us the spirit of fear, but of sound mind and doctrine. And it's just like, God, I know you're in me, and I know that you're speaking to me. And God's not like auditory, like God, like he will, his spirit, when his spirit lives in you, like he will give you that discernment. And so when there are feelings of fear and doubt and frustration, and you know that's not of God. And so I really had to get down on my knees and really just like ask for God to like fill me with his spirit, fill me with his um discernment. Like discernment is a huge, it has been a huge, like just word and action in my life the past few years, because not just living in your purpose, right, but also discerning like what is and what isn't for you, and so that's the continual walk of someone who is that trust in the Lord, like
Absolutely.
the decisions that we make is all by faith, right? And so it's like, yes, you may pray for something and God may give it to you, but it doesn't mean that he's going to make that the main thing, right? It's always a stepping stone to his continual purpose in your life, like we are not supposed to be like stuck and where we're at. We're always supposed to be pushing forward towards the mark of the high calling of the Lord, so
Mhm.
yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question, but like
No.
what I did feel was just off the charts, just not at peace, and when you feel that, that is like when doubt sets in, it is a sign we need to pray, you know like that's it, our, like when you're in a relationship with someone, your communication ought to be like seamless. It ought to be um, just automatic, right? And so through the challenges and trials and the uh, the seasons that I've been in the past few years, man, when there's a doubt, when there's a thought of like not good enough, or not confident enough that I'm able to pursue this, that is an automatic action to start praying, because it's not because of my power, but because of God's power in me. And so I trust that prayer is my is should be our way really, communicating to God that like we need him in order for us to proceed, in order for us
Absolutely.
to move forward.
Yes, absolutely. That's so true. And to all of you that are tuning in, we have so many people from so many different backgrounds, belief systems. You may not believe in God per se, but one of the things that I always like to remind people of is that we don't have to seek outside of ourselves for a higher power. That higher power, that omnipotence, that whether it's God, the universe that you believe in, that resides inside of you. So when you spend your time in meditation and in prayer and having a conversation with that higher power, it's almost as though you're instantly connected to that. It's you can tune in, tap in, and turn on that power that constantly is flowing through you, and you're able to make higher decisions, right? Based on your higher consciousness, your Christ consciousness that God gives you, reveals to you, for you to be able to move forward with that divine purpose that has been instilled in you from the day that you were planted in your mother's belly,
Yes.
and it's so beautiful because everybody has that capacity, everybody has that ability to do that. It's just really tuning into it because your body is talking to you all day, every day. And if you don't feel at peace or aligned the way that Jonathan's talking about, you
Yeah.
have the opportunity to really make those changes instantly. We're like creating second by second,
Yeah.
second by second. And I love that. I love that. And you've talked already about mentorship and relationship. So, how has your upbringing and circle of influence impacted the way that you think and live today?
Yeah. So no, that's good. Yeah, I've been blessed for with supportive parents, and you know, they were absolutely just giving of themselves and loving and sacrificing to be able to provide us kids, a great childhood. My dad, I respect him so much and love him so much. Like he spent 24 years in the Air Force, and then another career as a civilian working in the Air Force, as a civilian. And then my mom, like with like humble beginnings in the Philippines, grew up humble beginnings, and then like got her civil engineering degree, and was eventually worked up into as the one of the bosses on base, in civil engineering, like one of the high level civil engineer programs director, in on the Air Force Base. And so, you know, just been really blessed to have my parents as an example of God's love, of hard work, of humility. And so that has that has affected me in a way where I want to be, I have an example of, what that looks like, in a marriage, in a faithful marriage, in, being faithful in serving, in a local church. Their heart for Christ is like no other, and so it's just they, they're they retired from their careers to be missionaries to Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just like they're God's like just leveling up their service, and their commitment. And so I see that as just an encouragement, you know, and also a reminder that, not every time, not all the time, like it wasn't always like rainbows and butterflies. It wasn't always like, yay, like we're good, like we got everything, like no, we've gone through some hard times, and so like but it's I'm reminded that through those trials, through those hard times, like they've always encouraged us to like trust in the Lord, you know, and to like have our faith as the core of
Mhm.
our being, you know. And so like through school, through college, through career changes, through all that stuff, you know, like um keeping God first really is has that has been their posture, you know, as parents. And so one day, you know, when I'm blessed and the opportunity to be a parent, like I want to continue that posture of you know, reflecting, you know, God's love towards my future kids. And so to be able to continue that, um, you know, that love and that responsibility. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Responsibility,
yeah,
responsibility. It's a big responsibility.
yeah.
Just it's a big responsibility to be a human on this planet in this day and age, because we are constantly a reflection, right, of what's happening in the world. And when you want to see something positive, when you want the world to change, you got to be the change. You got to change your perception. You got to change the lens that you're viewing the world through, right? You can, and there's a saying that says where focus goes, energy flows.
I was about to say that that was
So
a statement that you really kept really reminding me, you know, and it's like where focus goes, energy flows, right? And so you know, when we're focused on, you know, the inner things, you know, it doesn't get, you know, focus on the outward, focus on the giving, focus on that, you know. And so I really like that saying, that
yes.
constant reminder, Rebecca. Yeah.
Yes, where focus goes, energy flows. And you remember that you are a representation of your world, right? So if again, if you want things to change, you have to even change the the inner dialogue that's happening in your mind, because thoughts create words, words turn into actions, and actions turn into your reality, right? It's what you are creating every single day, and that's your divine responsibility. It's each and every single one of us has that responsibility to create what we want to see. So, this is another reason why these conversations are being had, because there's millions of podcasts out there. A lot of them are really focused on maybe a specific career path, right? Because we focus on a lot of the external, even when it comes to success and financial prosperity, right? We kind of relate the two as being the aspect of success, but there's so much more that goes into someone living a very successful life. And these conversations that I'm having with people of all walks of life, I truly believe that these people embody the true essence of success, because pretty much every single person that's coming through this platform, they're all giving of their time and being of service to humanity, and that's what really we're here to do. But first and foremost, they're taking care of themselves, because if you are not taking care of your vessel, you're not taking care responsibility for your temple, then you don't really have the capacity to give outwardly selflessly, and that's what we're here to do. Do you believe that your line of work infects our society with positivity?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Um, which is interesting because uh, you know, 2017, actually 2015, you know, I had a or let's go back. Like I've had some great jobs in the past, you know, dream job after I graduated my undergrad, and then, you know, was had the opportunity to lead a graphic design graphic design team in corporate for about 3 years, and I thought when I got that job, I made it. I was like, oh, like I got my office, I'm able to build a team of my own. I'm able to hire, I'm able to go, do these interviews and all that stuff. And I thought I made it, and so I was working in that marketing graphic design job for almost 3 years, and during that time, the first year and a half, I was just like, yes, like I'm here, I'm in my purpose, like I feel good, thank the Lord for this incredible job, and so like, and then there started to be a time where I'm feeling like, oh, I wonder if this is where I'm meant to be, like indefinitely, am I gonna climb up, the corporate ladder, and I was okay with that. I went to grad school and got my marketing degree, and I was like, man, this is the like American like steps to success, right? Like go to college, get a degree, and climb the corporate ladder, and then you're good. Like buy a house, get married, get a dog, and and so like those are the things that I thought that was for me, right? And so, you know, I eventually resigned, resigned from that position, quit a corporate job to start a creative production agency with Jasmin, my sister, and so like we get a chance to create a platform for people to help tell their stories, to build their brand, to um, sell a product that they believe in, to really promote whatever that they want, whatever that company or person or entrepreneur wants to promote. So like everyone has a story to tell. And I love video production. It really helps really move the audience, to feel, to behave in a certain way, to make choices, right? There's a call to action, after you see something or you watch something, and so like what you said, like how does my line of work really infect uh, the society and positivity, so it goes back to like faith. It goes back to like how God like created the heavens and the earth. Like he is the ultimate creator, and so like being equipped with a way, a talent to create, you know I have a responsibility to be a good steward of that talent, right? And so, you know I want to continue to reflect God's goodness and his creation through his lens, as I continue to work in the industry that I'm in a in a corrupt industry, like advertising and commercial and this and that. You need this, you need that, but we are, you know, I've been, just really called to be in this industry, to be a light in a dark industry, and so being able to tell these stories of people and companies and like that, uh, it's an incredible responsibility, uh, to not take lightly or not take for granted. So um, continuing to find inspiration through God, and live out the creative, to capture those stories through his creative lens. So
Yes. Oh
yeah,
my gosh. Oh, that's so good. And I can attest to that because Jonathan's work is phenomenal. I mean, he's one of the best photographers, you and your sister, amazing photographers
well,
and videographers.
yeah,
I mean,
Jasmine's the photo, and I'll do the video aspect of things, but she's incredible as well.
yeah, I mean, I've seen some of your photos too. Your
Oh,
videography is like by
all right,
far.
thank you.
Yes, but definitely. I mean, it's just so beautiful when you trust, right? There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about faith. And I love referencing the Bible because a lot of people don't understand it, which is why they shy away from even studying it. But when you have gone through life experiences and you've been through a lot of them, you could go back to the Bible and I mean, it clicks, it resonates, because what the Bible really is, it's just a storyline of philosophers, historians, like kingsmen, shepherds boys. I mean, so many different types of people like you and I that went out and lived their story, but through their experiences, they gained wisdom and sovereignty, and they asked God for the guidance and the ability to be able to write it out, right? And it's not something that a lot of people have the capacity to do. Well, I think we all have the capacity to tap into that gifting, but not everybody will do it. And so there's a scripture in Hebrews that says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And that right there is like the epitome of manifestation, right? When you can see it in your mind, when you can visualize it crystal clear, without it actually being present, you have the capacity to actually like manifest it in physical life. And that's why visual creation, storytelling, storyboarding is so important. Creativity is so important to tap into every single day, because when you're doing that, you're almost raising your vibration instantly. You
Right.
raise your vibration instantly, and it draws in all these magical experiences just because you're literally creating all this stuff in your head, and your lens changes.
It does. Yeah.
It really does. And it's impossible not to spread light and positivity. It's just impossible.
I know, seriously. Especially when we get into the creative like flow of things, and whatever, if it's you know, business, or whether it's someone that is just going through some things, they everyone has a story to tell, and we're responsible to be authentic in our work, but also being authentic in telling those stories authentically,
Absolutely.
that that work that we've been talking about, it really brings me back to this verse, like Ephesians 2:10, for we are his workmanship, right? Like created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God has prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them, and so like each day, Rebecca, like you have this platform, that you've been called to do this good work, right? To have these conversations, these connected conversations, that really show, give people a voice, right? And so like you're walking in that right now, like you're literally just like being in that and being a light, to others. And so, when you are in that, you're blessed, you're fulfilled, your purpose is being fulfilled.
Yes. And it feels so good. I mean, a lot of people ask, and we'll go into this a little bit further as we continue with the questions, but a lot of people ask, well, I don't even know what purpose is. I don't even know what a higher calling is. And every day we have the ability to pursue that just because we woke up, right? Waking up is like is is ultimately right what our purpose, right? Waking up, showing up, and doing what feels right within our body, because your body talks to you. It will stress out, it will be anxious, you will be sick with just ailments, dis-ease when you're out of alignment. And so, these conversations do inspire you to ask those questions within yourself and make the necessary changes for you to be able to connect to that, um, to become more aligned and to continue to walk in your purpose and your higher calling. So, how do you stay relevant, unique, and true to who you are as a person every single day?
Yeah. um so I look at where I'm at right now, right? And where I've been, right? And so what really it's being around people that inspire you to be the best version of yourself. And yes, like that's a saying and all that stuff, but like when you are doing that, when you're around community that is supportive, when you're around like-minded people, and um, I've a great like community in regards to like my guy friends, my guys, my prayer warriors, like hearing from them and being around them, and the things that they're going through, and the prayers that we're able to have together, like talking to God together, and also um, mentorship as well. Like I have a mentor. He is very seasoned in what he does and where he's been, right? And so like speaking to him, his words of wisdom is just so good, because like yes, we have this like vision of where we want to go, and like where we are right now, but like the experiences of people that are a lot seasoned and older, and they have been through uh, challenges and failures and things like that, but like looking to them and speaking to them, and having that type of like, I'm like a sponge, of just like, it's like, Mike, like just like speak to me. I need this. I need some wisdom. I need some assurance right now, and so yeah, just being relevant. It's we're in a very, innovative industry. Like everything is constantly changing, technology. So like um, just being around other industry individuals, people in the same industry that are continuing to innovate, that are just like really pushing the boundaries of creativity. So I have some really great creative friends. Our brainstorm sessions are just like out of this world, and so I'm a dreamer. I'm a visionary, and so like having those ideas and things with my team, with everyone, and so we're able to really just like dissect and really, brainstorm on the possibilities. So being around people that are more seasoned and more experienced than you are a lot wiser, is a huge value,
Yeah, absolutely. And with your market, because oftentimes, especially in these industries, right, we think that this market is so saturated. How am I going to stand out? Do
uh,
you feel like your specific technique stands out from the rest?
I think so. We our clients and that we work with, you could ask them. It's like anyone can film and photograph something, but it's how you do it, and it's how you deliver it, right? So not just the work wise, but we really take relationships very seriously. Building and fostering the relationships of the clients that we work with. And so we want to be able to not just provide a product or provide a solution, but like we want to be with them as they grow. And so having that type of relationship with our clients makes a difference when we're working with them, when we're really be an extension of their vision, and that's what's really important of just like, not, yes, we are entrusted with their investment, right? But like, how does that portray in the work relationship, um, just, and that's where being authentic is. Hey, we want to work with you. Yes, it is our passion, it is our job, but we take this very seriously. We take your brand and your passion like it was ours, and
Right.
so how can we really capture that together, and really deploy those types of you know assets out to their audience in an effective way.
Absolutely. And within the relationship, you build trust,
Trust, yes. Yeah.
trust, and you're able to, I mean, I think that it's so important, especially as a creator, because not everybody has that skill set, which is why, people hire out people like Jonathan and his sister to be able to, create a story, a brand, because at the end of the day, we're all creating lifestyle brands that are really a reflection of the person, the curator or the founder of that business. And it takes us a very specific skill set to be able to unfold that story so beautifully, to be able to represent the person who is behind it. And that's, I mean, I can definitely, I've seen so many of your storyboards through video, and you do such a phenomenal job to embody that lifestyle.
Thank you. Thank you. It's fun. It's fun.
I bet it is. Do you believe, and you already answered a little bit of this earlier, but do you believe that the work that you do is aligned with your calling and higher purpose?
Yes. Yes. I do believe that, right? And just because of the season that we're in right now, work wise, just the continual provision and the continual just like direction on where we're heading to, and like for example, like we will create uh, um, a goal, right? Or an objective, like a 3 year or a 5 year or a 10 year, right? Like these are different things that we want to accomplish, right? But like first thing, like yes, we have this vision of where we want to go. But like first, like we have to like we have to align ourselves with, I'm gonna go back to our faith, it's like we have to really ask God's like, God, this is what is in our heart. This is what we visualize. Like it's only because of your will that we would be able to live these out. Like Lord, please bless this vision that you've given us, and like continue to direct us so that we can go this way and you'll find a roadblock. Okay, boom, turn this way. And then, oh, there's an open door. And then you go through that, right? And then you turn this way, you make another decision, and there's another roadblock, and there's some things that don't allow you to go this way, right? And so it's that it's it's asking God to help navigate your way. It's not going out blindly. It's faith, right? Faith is what drives us. Our decision making. And so it's the things that are unseen that
Uh-huh.
we have to believe in, right? And so and it's it's interesting. Not a lot of people know about that, but a lot of people need to know that, to trust, to make that decision, right? To make that uh, just that's one of the most important decisions a person can make, is to step into that faith. And you're actually when you step into that faith, that's where freedom is.
Yes.
That's where, like, hey, like if things don't go my way, like it's all good, because like God's got me, right? Because he knows of a better, he knows the better way. And so um I am, like, I want to continually be aligned. There isn't a time where I'm like, oh man, I made it, because like that's
Never do.
yeah, you never do, but like once you reach a certain milestone, like be thankful for that, live that, be in it, right? And be thankful for it, be humble about it, and ask, like, okay, like what's next, like where do we go from here, like. And so continuing to navigate through our faith is how we operate, is how I'm going to continue to operate. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you said that we never really do arrive. I mean, we're always
Oh,
reaching different milestones within our journey because life, that's what it is. It's a journey.
yeah.
And a lot of times we really are walking in blind faith because we don't really even know. I mean, we can visualize our
Sure. Yeah.
future, right? We
Yeah.
can be visionaries and what we want to create. But at the end of the day, we don't even know if tomorrow is going to come,
Mm,
right? We just don't know. So it's really important that we are fully and divinely connected to our creator at all times, because literally the voice of spirit just flows through every single day, and you're able to make wiser decisions as you maneuver through your journey to continue to stay aligned. And when you hit that different milestone, you're like, okay, God, where else do I need to go? What path do I need to take now? And you're making more sovereign decisions based on the voice of God that's always within you, and you're just more tuned into it. You're more tuned into it, and you're more apt to not necessarily avoid, but like the anxiety and the stress just doesn't, it no longer lives there. You just don't have
yeah.
to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
That's a constant practice, right? And that's then goes into my
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
question. What practices do you implement in your life to stay grounded and divinely connected to your creator?
So yeah, that's so remember Acts. Oh my God, it's adoration.
Adoration.
Adoration, but you're also acknowledging, right? You're acknowledging
Yes.
who he is. And then sees like confession, like you're admitting your sins, right? You're like, man, this is like I'm not where I need to be right now, you know? And then T would be thanksgiving, and you're like
Thanksgiving.
thanking him, you know, for everything, for who he is, for what he does, for what he's done in your life, you know. And then S is the supplication. It's that's when you're just like making your request, you know, for yourself and you know for others, you know. So that has been my rhythm, and it you know it structures the conversation, and it provides you know that type of structure, of you know when you're speaking to the Almighty, you know, like when you're speaking to your Creator, you know. And that's you know it's been a incredible uh, just life change and prayer relational change throughout the years of growing my relationship with the Lord. So
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
my, thank you for sharing. That's
yeah,
great. Acts. So
yeah.
adoration, confession,
Thanksgiving.
thanksgiving, and supplication.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
That is a good prayer right there.
And you know, and so like that's from like um learning in church, you know. That's like that's from community, that's from pastors that are really um just true, and that want to really teach their flock on like this is a way to pray, you know, like that. I'm not saying that's like that's how you need to, but
Yeah.
that's how I want to be able to like, you know, to how I speak to the Lord, how do I talk to God. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great foundation. It's a
Yeah.
great guideline. I mean, again, meditation and prayer looks so differently for
Yeah.
everyone. And
Right.
just like Jonathan said, it's really meant to be a conversation.
Right.
And this has become my inner dialogue every single day. It's like I'm literally having conversation with God, my higher power. And that is a you to just have more peace, joy, fulfillment, happiness. Because remember, all of these things or emotions are not anything that you need to seek outside of yourself. God has already given that to you. It's your birthright. And it's something that you can feel all day, every day. And it's such a beautiful thing. Now, what words of wisdom would you give to those seeking a deeper understanding of themselves?
That's deep. No, that's deep. Um, you know, I don't I don't do a lot of these talks, but I do have a lot of like um, just like deep conversations with people. We actually have a lot of deep conversations, Rebecca, and I'm the conversations are different when you're in alignment, when you're speaking to someone that's like-minded, and it's just so freeing, right? That like, oh, I got you, like you understand that, right? And so I'm thinking like, well, words of wisdom is that, when I love when I get to talk about my faith and when I talk about Jesus, you know, and so I just I when no one will know truly about themselves if they don't know who they come from, you know,
Mhm.
and so that's why so many people are lost. There's so many like, what do I do? Like, they have to go do this and do that and go to all these other conferences and things like that. And they're still like, what's my, like, what's my purpose? Like, who am I doing this for? And so like, first they need to know like who their creator is, like they need to know like there is someone that is bigger than themselves, and that is Jesus Christ, and so like they need to put their faith and trust into him, and like, hey, um knowing that they're not going to know who they are or know who, like, what their purpose is unless they trust in the Lord, and so it's a hard thing. It's conversations that's not really popular these days, it's not, but like we me like us as believers, we're ought to reflect God's love, and like when we're not sharing that good news, we're not loving that person, like we don't we ought to that ought to be in the forefront of our minds of where they're going to spend, eternity, and so like first of all, like trust in the Lord, right? And when you do, that's the first step of your journey, as a Christ follower, and so um, throughout the years of walking with the Lord, and prayer and where I'm at right now, there's this verse, Romans 8, 38, 39, and this is, my mom actually introduced me to this verse, because I had some doubts, when I was a kid. And so I really thank my mom for sharing me this verse. It's like, um, for neither death nor life, nor um, angels, nor rulers, nor things present, nor things to come, or powers, nor neither height nor depth, nor anything in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus our Lord. You
Mhm.
know, like we will go through seasons of doubt, we'll go through seasons of just like uncertainties, right? But like even now, this day, like you said, like there's so much havoc going on and so much like just disaster and all these things are happening, right? But like God's sovereign, like we have to remember that whatever things happen in our life, we have to trust that like God is not going to leave us nor forsake us, and that we are safe in his hands, right? And then nothing or anyone can like pluck us out, right? And so that right there is like what I want whoever's listening to to be compelled to like to look into, you know. And it's just like, man, who is God? Like, how can I get to know him? How can I be free of my you know, self-doubt, or how could I be free of this the season that of uncertainty that I'm in, you know. I'm not going to say that things are going to be perfect, you know,
Mm-mm,
but but you don't have to do that yourself, you know.
mm-mm.
And so like do that with the strength and the power of God. And so
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, that's so good. And it's so true. And it's that belief, the belief of something that you cannot see
Right.
is what takes you to new levels, just knowing that it's there. God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent.
Hmm.
God is in everything that you see. You walk outside, you look at the trees, the mountains, nature, birds, right? Like everything that comes from natural elements of the earth. Like it's impossible for you to deny that God's presence is among us. And I mean, when you think about it, I love this lecture. I just recently tuned into this lecture called The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity.
Hmm.
And prosperity means something different for everyone. But I would really love to challenge your idea of prosperity and to look at it more as though it's an energy, right? It's an energy. And when you're in alignment with your well being, with your mind, your body, and your spirit, and when you're tapped in, tuned in, turned on to the power that resides in you already, which is the power of God and the omnipotent power of God, right? You're able to recognize that prosperity in every aspect of your life is a birthright. And the Bible talks about it abundant. We have come to live life and live it more abundantly. And that's
Yes.
everyone, right?
Right.
And many are called, but few are chosen. And it's your responsibility to choose yourself to
Right.
recognize that you're chosen, right? Like when you
Right.
know who you are, you're chosen,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so you have a greater calling, you have a greater purpose over your life, and you're literally able to turn on that foresight, right? That foresight that allows your two physical eyes to see the spiritual realm that's amongst us every single day, because we are spiritual beings living a human experience. And God has given us that power to come down to this earth to fulfill a greater calling, a greater purpose, and to see the world. Because if you think about it over history, over generations of time, this isn't new. What's happening in the world right now is not new. This has been happening for generations upon generations. What's different now is that social media platforms and our phones, they're the forefront of what's on our mind, right? So if and this could be a vision board, this could be a storytelling board, right? You can create whatever you want to create on these devices. So this is why we're giving you this type of content right now, because it's not being talked about enough. And Jonathan and I are average people, just like you and I, that we made a decision to tap into what God has given us, what we know to be true. And we may not see it with our physical eyes all the time, but we know with our belief and our faith that it's there and it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, absolutely.
So one last question before we
Yeah.
end this amazing call. You talked about that you become a part of communities and you love to read also. So give our audience a piece of literature that you would recommend for them to tap into that would be very helpful on this journey.
Oh, okay. Um, so I mean, there's a lot of good books out there. Um, so right now, just like, you know, in a season of singleness,
Uh-huh.
but singleness is a time where God's like preparing you, like he's um just this is a time to really work on ourselves, right? Work on our relationship with the Lord, work on our, the purpose that he's given us. um but we're all, we're all in uh so there's this book of just that I recently read it's like huge. It's about relationships, right? It's the things I should have known before I got married.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so it talks about a lot of things in regards to, like, obviously, like relationships and conversations that a lot more seasoned people have experienced, that they want to, spread the knowledge for people that are not married yet,
Okay.
um and so things I wish I'd known before I got married. Yeah, I'm looking at the author right now.
And I'll actually
Yeah,
share these
yeah,
little nuggets of wisdom. So I'll write down
yeah,
below in the description box
yeah.
the acts for prayer and
Oh,
then the
right.
book. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Gary Chapman. Things I wish I'd known before we got married. And it's funny. It's a funny book. Like, funny. It's authentic, and it's taught a lot. A lot about communication, right? A lot about how to communicate, how a person receives things when they're communicated to. So, yeah, that's a good book. Business wise, Traction is incredible. We run our business off of Traction, the EOS system, entrepreneurial operating system. Gino Wickman, uh, that's a great book. Um, so yeah, we're The Human Team. That's a great book of communicating with a team, really, with your company. So The Human Team
Nice.
is incredible. Yeah,
Okay. I'll write those down. Wow. Well, this was very insightful, very enlightening, and I truly appreciate you exchanging energy today.
yeah.
Um, I was supposed to have another guest this week that had some disruptions in schedule, and Jonathan and I have been trying to get this conversation on the books for months now. But I truly believe in divine timing, and there's never a wrong time. It's always the right time. It's just really our perception of time that we get wrong. So thank you so much to every person who is taking the time to listen into these conversations. My prayer is that you continue to be inspired, that you continue to just walk, whether it's blindly, right, by faith, in order for you to continue to fulfill your divine purpose on this earth, because we need more people like you to continue to tap into that higher vibration, right? So that we can continue to make waves, positive waves on this planet, in order for us to move in, transition into this new earth that I love to call my heaven on earth.
Mm,
You can live that every single day. So thank you again. Peace and blessings to you. And until next time, blessings.
blessings.